sure you probably already know this, but the WWE has been around for a very long time. In fact, it's already been around for over 70 years as an organization, if you can believe that. And because the WWE has been around for so long, it's amassed thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hours worth of footage of matches, backstage segments, promos, interviews, hype packages, you name it. And because the WWE has been around for so long, and because they've produced so much content over the past 7 decades, they're bound to accidentally or on purpose copy themselves from time to time. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, because on Twitter, I asked you to send me some moments that WWE copied itself. Whether it's a match spot, a storyline, it may be an entire character, whatever it might be, I'm going to be reading your answers. And of course, giving you my thoughts and opinions on them. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content here, folks. All right, let's start off with the recent one that just happened that's on top of everybody's mind. The fake retirement segment of AJ Styles, which was a direct, almost carbon copy of the Mark Henry fake retirement segment that happened nearly 10 years ago. And yes, did I see it coming? I did. I thought that it was particularly obvious, but that's because I was around in 2014 to experience the fake retirement from Mark Henry. But the fact of the matter is that the WWE is bringing in new fans every single day, every single year, which means that the fans of today may not necessarily know that the fake retirement angle ever even happened. You gotta remember, you watching this YouTube video, you kind of fall in the 1% of nerds when it comes to wrestling. You're the one that watches wrestling YouTubers, which also probably means you're the one that's been watching wrestling either for a really long time, or if you're a younger fan, you're the type of wrestling fan that's gone back and watched the stuff that you've missed. But you are not the normal ones. In fact, you are the exception to the rule. Most people just watch week to week. And those people that watch week to week that weren't around in 2014 never experienced the fake retirement angle, which means it was brand new to them. Which is why I do believe that it's entirely okay for the WWE to rehash certain moments in their major catalog of storytelling, because they have so many things that have worked really well in the past. And if they've worked really well in the past, hell, there's a pretty damn good chance that it's going to work in today's landscape of WWE as well. And the fake retirement worked really well 10 years ago, and I'm glad that it worked really well in today's WWE. If you're a fan that's been around for a long time, or you went back and watched old WWE, when you see these things happen, you shouldn't be mad or say that the WWE gets lazy with their storytelling. In fact, you should be happy, because this is really a wink, wink, nod, nod to you for being around for so long and for being such a hardcore wrestling fan. But you know what you shouldn't do? You shouldn't belittle people that didn't see it coming. It's totally okay to have been shocked and surprised by what AJ Styles ultimately ended up doing. But yeah, the AJ Styles fake retirement promo, all of it was really, really well done. Did I see it coming? Of course I did, because I was around, but hell, it doesn't change the fact that I thought it was fantastic. When Waller and Breakker copied the WCW and Goldberg steel plate spot. So it's not always WWE copying old storytelling beats. Sometimes it's cool spots in the ring, like when Goldberg went to spear Bret Hart, only for Goldberg to be lying unconscious and for Bret Hart to be the one to pop up and walk around. That happened in NXT as well, with Braun Breaker spearing Grayson Waller, only to find out that Grayson Waller stood up. He was fine because he wore a steel-plated vest, just like Bret Hart did all the way back in the WCW days. And I think that those spots are creative, and they work, and they worked back then, and it's okay for them to work today. Are you really telling me that people in today's landscape of professional wrestling, if they're just regular people, that they're gonna know that the steel plate spot came from WCW? No, it's okay. They're experiencing it for the first time, and it was cool. I do like these little nods, like Seth Rollins and Rhea Ripley recreating the Shawn Michaels and Melina spot. Yeah, they don't have to be deep integrated moments in a match. They don't need to be these big narrative pieces. Sometimes it can just be little jokes that are funny back then that are funny still today. And I guarantee you that this spot they're gonna keep doing until the end of time, because it will always work. It will always be funny. Imagine being so jaded that when Seth Rollins did this with Rhea Ripley, going, wow, Oh, that sucked. That is so uncreative. Shawn Michaels did it first. Like, get a fucking life, dude. JC Jane super kicking Gigi Dolan and trying to throw her through the door like Shawn Michaels super kicking and throwing Marty Jannetty through a window. Something I've realized is that the current version of NXT does a ton of callbacks to cool moments in Shawn Michaels' career, whether he was turning heel or somebody, or how somebody turned on him, whether it's him passing out in a match against Owen Hart. He is always booking things around things that have happened in the past. And it's cool for people like me that have been around for this long that can make these like mind-body connections to those old moments in wrestling. This was almost like beat for beat, word for word, the barbershop segment between Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. I think that it worked equally as well, but even it might not have necessarily propelled JC Jane the way that Shawn Michaels doing it to Marty Jannetty ultimately did. It's funny because this moment created the you just got Marty Jannetty, where like your partner separates away from you, you both go single stars, and the Shawn Michaels goes on to have a great career and the Marty Jannetty doesn't. It's too early to tell if that's going to happen with JC Jane and Gigi Dolan since they're still both in NXT, but I think that they delivered this recreation of the barbershop segment really well. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not the last time that you're going to see a Shawn Michaels booked NXT moment on here. Somebody sent Nexus and Retribution. I don't know how much of a callback this is because they aren't entirely the same. The reason why Nexus was a thing was because these were frustrated rookies and rookies that wanted to make an impact on day one the second that they got an opportunity on the main roster. Meanwhile, Retribution were like hackers, cyber terrorists. I don't know what they were ultimately supposed to be. Yes, they were both people in groups that took over the show and in groups that took over by force and took out people every episode of Monday Night Raw. But I feel like that's where the similarities start and stop. And I also don't think that Retribution also really had this like brotherly camaraderie that was present between all of the members of the Nexus. So I'm going to have to disagree. I don't think that this is a callback anyway. We've seen this before, like fake Undertaker and fake Kane coming around to confront them, the versions of themselves. It's not a new thing that WWE does fake blank. We saw it with like fake Razor Ramon and fake Diesel, even though they weren't trying to market them as fake versions of them. They were trying to just replace them and hope that you were stupid enough in the brain to believe that Razor Ramon just happened to be a tiny bit different, but it's still the same guy. It's still the same guy. This is something that typically tends to happen with supernatural characters, but I feel like they could bring this back in some way, shape, or form, and I feel like it would land. They did do this with Sin Cara, if you remember as well, where there was Sin Cara and then like Black Mask Sin Cara, and then they had a feud to determine who the real Sin Cara was. I don't know what the hell that feud was about. But anyways, one of the Sin Caras lost, and then he just hopped on a bicycle and became Unico and Camacho. But I'd like to see the fake version of a wrestler come around again. I feel like it's time for us to redo this story beat again. I saw this one pop around a lot, which was the similarities between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Because we had John Cena lose to a Super Samoan, John Cena losing at WrestleMania 28 to The Rock, and Cody Rhodes losing at WrestleMania 39 to Roman Reigns. They both had to deal with Brock Lesnar, with Cena having to fight Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules, and Cody Rhodes having to have that summer trilogy with Brock Lesnar. Then they both come around and win a second Royal Rumble, and then they face off against that same Samoan that beat them the first time around, and then they both beat that Samoan, and then they both get hit with a fake retirement angle, with John Cena having to deal with fake retirement Mark Henry and Cody Rhodes having to deal with fake retirement AJ Styles. It is actually kind of hilarious and freaky how one-to-one this entire thing is. Obviously, when you look at just like the major beats like this, you can find the similarities, but how we got from point A to point B to point C to point D, they are entirely different. But I do like when fans make these connections because it is kind of mind-blowing when you put it like this. Like, there's no denying it. Like, it is plain as day. I've already mentioned that NXT likes to do callbacks to certain moments in Shawn Michaels' career, and one of the pivotal moments in 2002 was Shawn Michaels being laid out and betrayed by his best friend and member of DX in Triple H, because we've had of Kevin Owens turn on Sami Zayn, we've had Tommaso Ciampa turn on Johnny Gargano, we've had Carmelo Hayes turn on Trick Williams. These aren't exactly identical, but I do think that they are pieces of WWE narrative and storytelling devices that just work every single time. I don't think that it was originated by Shawn Michaels and Triple H in 2002. I'm sure that there are vast examples of best friends turning on each other before the 2002 turning of Triple H on Shawn Michaels. I saw this one a couple of times, The Rock and John Cena doing the Hogan stare down while looking at the crowd, both at Mania 28, WrestleMania 40. Yeah, this has happened a few times, but I think that this is a Rock thing. Rock even tried to do it with Cody Rhodes during night one of WrestleMania 40, but people were so goddamn cold that they couldn't get off their feet and start cheering. But it worked at WrestleMania 18, and The Rock is a master of understanding when to just let the crowd simmer and just when to let the crowd marinate. He did it with Hulk Hogan. He did it with Cena, did it with Cena again. The Rock likes to stare into the abyss randomly sometimes, and it works. But this is not something that everybody can get away with. Like, it is a thing that The Rock can do, but not me and you. I got this one as well, Kofi Mania and the Yes Movement. I think that there are similarities, but I don't think that they are one-to-one retellings. But I do think that this is an example of the WWE looking into the past, and in this example, not that much further back into the past, because there was only 5 years between Kofi Mania and the Yes Movement. But absolutely, you have to look at the fact that both of these guys were like B+ players, not seen as proper faces of the company, both held down by major authority figures, both having to go to hell and back to even get an opportunity to get onto the WrestleMania card, and having to go through all of the trials and tribulations, and of course standing tall at WrestleMania. Again, this is something that's happened a few times at WrestleMania. It's not just reserved for Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. But it is a tale that just works. This is what I mean. If it worked in the past, it's going to work in the present. Oh yeah, I've seen this tons of times whenever some heavyweight does a superplex and the ring breaks. I actually vividly remember the first time that this happened, and I think it was the first time in SmackDown in the early 2000s when Brock Lesnar superplexed the Big Show. I was like 9 years old, and that shit absolutely blew my goddamn little mind. Now when it happens, I'm like, saw it coming. But, oh, that was cool. It was still cool. I don't shit on it because I've seen it before, and that's how you should be. Carmelo Hayes attacking Trick just like Triple H attacking Shawn Michaels. Oh yeah, that was the moment that I immediately thought of when they revealed that it was Carmelo Hayes that betrayed and attacked Trick Williams in the back. But again, there's so many people that don't know that this thing happened between Triple H and Shawn Michaels, so I'm okay with all of these cool callbacks. It's just a narrative that's really easy to get behind. Some of my least favorite types of storylines in the WWE are love-based storylines, but God damn it, Eddie Guerrero and China just worked so well. It was just such a funny dynamic, and I'm so glad that the WWE found the perfect duo to recreate this in Dominic Mysterio and Mommy Rhea Ripley. It's not necessarily one for one, but it is the big, strong, muscular, dominant female, China and Rhea Ripley, as well as the slimy Latino with a mullet that wants to, of course, be there for his muscle mommy and wants nothing but her love and affection and acceptance. I love it. Yeah, sometimes it is just new WWE superstars that are meant to call back to former WWE superstars. This is a great example. Jack Swagger just trying to be Kurt Angle with the way that they packaged him as the All-American, coming out to do ankle locks and be more of a mat style wrestler. He really was supposed to be Kurt Angle, but no one can replicate Kurt Angle, man. It's just not a possible thing that you can do. Yes, of course, people getting thrown into the Jeritron. Of course, that was a callback. It happened recently in the Festival of Friendship between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, and 100% it was a callback to Chris Jericho doing it to Shawn Michaels. I'm realizing that a lot of these things are happening to Shawn Michaels, but I'm sure we might have a Jeritron moment in NXT at some point down the line. More NXT, Shawn Michaels being shocked that Bret Hart's music is playing in Montreal, getting ready for a fight only to psych out the crowd. Happened in NXT as well with Carmelo Hayes, fake playing Trick Williams's music, acting all shocked only to start laughing. Again, Shawn, you really liked your career clearly. We did see this one pretty recently, back in 2005 when Batista overheard Triple H and Ric Flair making fun of him and talking about how they've been manipulating him to try and go over to SmackDown and challenge JBL instead of challenging Triple H. We basically saw it one for one with Bayley overhearing the members of Damage Control making fun of her and talking shit about her. Even the ceremony was very similar when Bayley ultimately ended up choosing Io Sky to go off and have that match at WrestleMania. This is why people started calling Bayley Batista, because this really was almost a one-for-one callback to this moment back in the Ruthless Aggression era. God damn it. Sometimes they don't do callbacks to the things that they should do callbacks for. The P segment with Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon, where they forced Shawn Michaels to do a piss test. Yeah, they redid it during the pandemic era with Sheamus and Jeff Hardy to make sure that Jeff Hardy wasn't doing drugs. And in both segments, yeah, people got drenched with piss. It's a stupid moment. I didn't say that all the callbacks were callbacks to good things, okay? All right, folks, thanks for sending in your submissions. Again, I do these kinds of videos every once in a while, so I think it's important that you follow me on X if you want to be part of these every now and then. Okay, but I'm done. Get out of here.